The reign of Bayezid II represents a period in Ottoman history where consolidation, religious policy, and pragmatic governance combined to shape one of the most enduring empires in the world. Unlike his father Mehmed II, who had been defined by conquest and military expansion, Bayezid's leadership reflected a careful balance between tradition, diplomacy, and humanitarian concern. He inherited a vast multi-ethnic and multi-religious empire, stretching from the Balkans to Anatolia, and recognized that the strength of the Ottoman state relied not solely on military might, but on the ability to integrate diverse communities into a stable political and social order. Religious policy was central to Bayezid's approach to governance. He strengthened the role of Sunni Islam, supporting the ulama and other religious leaders to enforce orthodoxy and provide a moral and administrative framework for the empire. These institutions were not only spiritual centers but also key instruments for social cohesion, allowing local populations to align with imperial authority. Religious scholarship under Bayezid became a bridge, integrating newly acquired territories into the Ottoman state and ensuring that Islamic law worked in tandem with the empire's administrative structure. The emphasis on learning and guidance helped stabilize regions that were ethnically and culturally diverse, and it provided the state with legitimacy among its Sunni majority while offering a degree of oversight for other religious communities. Bayezid's policies were not limited to the promotion of Sunni orthodoxy. His reign is especially remembered for its humanitarian approach, most notably in response to events unfolding far beyond the Ottoman borders. In 1492, the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella completed the Reconquista, expelling Jews and Muslims from the Iberian Peninsula. The Spanish Inquisition targeted anyone who refused conversion, leading to the displacement and persecution of thousands of individuals. Recognizing both the human suffering and the opportunity to strengthen his empire, Bayezid acted decisively. He ordered the Ottoman navy to assist in relocating Sephardic Jews, offering them refuge within Ottoman cities. Thousands were resettled in Istanbul, Salonika, and other key centers, where they were welcomed not merely as refugees but as valuable participants in economic, cultural, and intellectual life. The resettlement of Jews from Spain had profound implications for the Ottoman Empire. The newcomers brought commercial expertise, trade connections, and scholarly knowledge that strengthened the economic infrastructure of the state. Their integration into urban centers fostered a cosmopolitan environment, contributing to the empire's cultural richness and enhancing its reputation as a sanctuary for displaced communities. Bayezid's actions reflected both humanitarian concern and pragmatic statecraft. By providing refuge to those expelled from Europe, the Sultan reinforced Ottoman prestige, demonstrated the empire's capacity for inclusion, and highlighted a contrast with the rigid religious policies taking hold elsewhere in Europe. Bayezid's policy of religious tolerance extended beyond Jews to other non-Muslim communities within the empire. Christian and Jewish subjects were allowed to maintain their own institutions, religious leaders, and traditions under the supervision of the Ottoman state. While Sunni Islam remained central to governance, this approach promoted social cohesion by reducing the likelihood of rebellion and fostering loyalty among diverse populations. Religious tolerance became a defining characteristic of Bayezid's reign, illustrating that effective governance in a multi-ethnic empire required flexibility and pragmatism alongside adherence to orthodoxy. The Sultan's humanitarian and religious policies were not without challenges. Toward the east, a growing ideological threat emerged in the form of the Safavid movement in Persia. Under Shah Ismail, the Safavids transformed from a Sufi religious order into a militant Shia dynasty, consolidating power in Iran and declaring Shia Islam the state religion. Their influence extended into Anatolia, where many Turkic tribes were drawn to the Safavid cause. Known as the Kizilbash, these groups embraced Shia doctrines and challenged Ottoman authority. Bayezid approached this threat cautiously, avoiding direct military confrontation while suppressing local uprisings and closely monitoring the eastern frontier. This careful management reflected his broader strategy: maintain internal stability and avoid unnecessary conflict, even in the face of a growing ideological rival. Bayezid's restraint in dealing with the Safavids was not universally supported within the Ottoman elite. Some military commanders and members of the religious establishment urged a more aggressive response, fearing that Safavid influence among Anatolian tribes could provoke internal unrest. Despite these pressures, Bayezid's cautious policy reflected his overarching goal of consolidating the empire, prioritizing stability and unity over immediate military action. His ability to navigate internal debate while maintaining a clear strategy highlighted his political acumen and his commitment to long-term governance over short-term gains. While managing internal and eastern threats, Bayezid also faced ongoing challenges in the West. Conflicts with European powers, particularly Venice, characterized his reign. Naval skirmishes in the eastern Mediterranean, disputes over trade routes, and territorial negotiations culminated in the Ottoman-Venetian War, which lasted intermittently through the late 15th century. The conflict concluded with the Treaty of Constantinople in 1502, a compromise in which Venice ceded certain territories to the Ottomans while retaining others, preserving a delicate balance of power in the Mediterranean. Bayezid's diplomacy in these matters emphasized negotiation and strategic patience rather than expansionist ambition, further illustrating his cautious and pragmatic approach to governance. In the Balkans, Bayezid continued his father's policy of maintaining control through a combination of military presence and political alliances. Vassal states were supported with oversight, and selective use of force ensured that local rulers remained loyal to the Ottoman crown. Regions such as Wallachia and Bosnia experienced relative stability under Bayezid's oversight, as the Sultan emphasized consolidation over conquest. Marriages, treaties, and careful administration allowed him to extend influence without triggering widespread rebellion, reflecting the importance of diplomacy and soft power alongside military strength. Despite the generally peaceful and stabilizing orientation of his rule, Bayezid's later years were marked by rising internal tension, particularly regarding succession. His sons, Ahmed and Selim, represented differing visions of leadership. Ahmed, the elder, was widely favored by court officials for his cautious and measured approach, while Selim, the governor of Trabzon, was militaristic and critical of his father's leniency toward the Safavids. This internal rivalry highlighted the enduring challenges of succession in the Ottoman system, where multiple heirs often competed for the throne. Bayezid's reign, focused on consolidation and tolerance, had successfully managed many external and internal pressures, but the question of succession demonstrated the ongoing fragility of even a well-ordered empire. Bayezid II's policies of religious tolerance, humanitarian assistance, and strategic governance left a lasting imprint on the Ottoman state. By integrating expelled populations, supporting religious and educational institutions, and cautiously managing ideological and military threats, he reinforced the empire's stability and projected its reputation as a haven for those facing persecution. His reign demonstrated that effective imperial governance relied not only on military conquest but also on inclusive policies, diplomacy, and social integration. The resettlement of Sephardic Jews from Spain serves as one of the most striking examples of Bayezid's approach. These communities enriched the empire economically and culturally, becoming integral to trade networks, scholarship, and urban life. Bayezid's willingness to offer refuge while maintaining social cohesion illustrates the pragmatic and enlightened aspects of his leadership. This policy of tolerance also contrasted sharply with the growing sectarian conflicts in Europe, where religious uniformity was enforced through persecution and exile. The Ottoman Empire under Bayezid emerged as a center of relative security and opportunity for displaced communities, reinforcing its position as a major regional power with a reputation for inclusion. Bayezid's legacy extended beyond immediate humanitarian acts. His governance reinforced the centrality of Sunni orthodoxy while accommodating the empire's diverse populations, creating a model of tolerance that influenced Ottoman policy for generations. By balancing authority, religion, and inclusivity, Bayezid maintained social stability and strengthened the state's administrative and ideological frameworks. His reign illustrates how thoughtful leadership, grounded in both principle and pragmatism, can transform challenges into opportunities, ensuring the long-term resilience of a complex empire. In the broader sweep of Ottoman history, Bayezid II's reign represents a unique blend of conservatism, pragmatism, and humanism. While his father had expanded the empire through conquest, Bayezid consolidated, integrated, and protected it through policies that combined diplomacy, religious authority, public works, and humanitarian intervention. His actions toward expelled Jewish communities, management of Eastern threats, and emphasis on Sunni orthodoxy exemplify a leadership style that prioritized stability and cohesion without sacrificing moral and practical responsibilities. Ultimately, Bayezid II demonstrated that the strength of an empire lies not only in its military power, but in its ability to govern diverse populations, respond humanely to crises, and balance ideological, social, and political interests. His reign reinforced the Ottoman Empire's reputation as a refuge for persecuted peoples, a center of religious scholarship, and a state capable of navigating complex internal and external challenges. Through a combination of tolerance, strategy, and careful governance, Bayezid II secured his place in history as a sultan, whose rule preserved the gains of his father while laying the groundwork for the empire's enduring stability and influence.